Oh, yes. Yesterday I put a screen print of Article number 9 of the Education Section 1, the preamble. Yes. It is paramount duty of the state to make ample provision for the education of all children residing within its borders, without distinction or preference on account of race, color, caste, or sex. Now, caste is something interesting because that's a societal structure. If you're one of these homeless children, they cannot discriminate. Now, I know. I'm the homeless father. Pooh. Does that make my sons homeless sons, or is it just myself is the homeless father and they're the very well-to-do sons? Now, this sectarianism, control, and influence prohibited, section number 4, pooch. All schools maintained or supported wholly or in part by the public funds shall be forever free from sectarian control or influence. I didn't really know what sectarianism was, but it happens to do with prejudice and bias. Now let's see. I inform you that every mandatory reporter in every school district of the United States cannot be prejudiced or biased against the enforcement of the rights of students, as well as their parents because of being a certain caste of citizen. Now, as that American citizen that happens to be the homeless, indigent pauper that you yourselves have said, well, he's got to go to Western State Hospital. I thought it was somewhat, well, good for the students to make sure they have plenty of nutrition in their bodies so as to be able to learn after they had worked out as a power lifters. Now, let's say that the Washington State School for the Blind did know that my rights were violated in 2011. Popo. They're a little different than the actual public education, though they do receive some funds. The deaf school and the blind school of the state of Washington have a special place in the state legislature. You ever tried to tell a blind student that they would not receive the funding from the state because of their disability? Pooch, visually impaired. Pooh. Now, I had a stepdaughter that was blind. She said that I raped her. Is that right? Now, as a father, you did not enforce my rights in 2011. Then my wife filed for dissolution of marriage. Yes. And you reissued the protection order in contempt of court, chooch, without waiting for the verdict of not guilty so as to give you the legal right to tell the spouse, I'm sorry, we can't reissue this. Now, as the father that was the powerlifting coach that did explain to the faculty at the Washington State School for the Blind, it is important for children to be involved in athletics, but you have to take into consideration how it's going to affect their academics. Yes! Now, this sectarian control of the institutions known as public education, I'm thinking that the WSSB gets some of their funding from the general fund. Is that right? Is it a general fund? And if I look through all the private schools, specifically for those that are disabled, the blind, the deaf, and any other disabled students, it is a paramount duty to the state right now that you don't fuck with me. Because I do know what I'm talking about. Now, are you going to make me go to Port Townsend tomorrow so another mental health expert will tell me that I'm insane for understanding what the fucking law says?